The galaxy was broken, shattered by centuries of war, betrayal, and silence. Across millions of light years, civilizations that had once towered into the stars now floated as nothing but wreckage and ghosts. Trade routes lay abandoned. Planets, once alive with color and voices, now spun in eerie silence. Alliances had crumbled. Hope wasn't just rare, it was extinct. Everyone had given up. And just when the last embers of belief were dying out, when the ancient empires bowed their heads in quiet surrender, a ripple tore through the void. A signal, a movement, something different, something impossible. Humanity had arrived. Nobody in the galaxy had ever seen anything like it. A fleet burning hotter than suns, moving with a purpose no one dared to dream of anymore. Ships, rugged and battered but carrying something. More powerful than any weapon. Raw, stubborn, reckless hope. They didn't come to bargain or beg, they didn't come to hide. They came with their hands clenched into fists and their eyes burning with a promise. They came to fight for what the galaxy had forgotten how to even ask for, a future. And while these massive warships tore across the stars carrying millions, who still believed that broken things could be fixed, down on a small blue planet called Earth, in a dusty corner of a battered city, a different kind of miracle was happening. It started with something simple, something human, a choice. 18-year-old Malik Carter slouched in the last seat of the crowded bus, his hoodie pulled up against the evening chill, earbuds drowning out the world. He wasn't thinking about galaxies or fleets. He wasn't thinking about anything, except maybe getting home before dark and helping his little sister with her homework. Life hadn't been easy lately. His mom was working 2 jobs, bills stacked higher than hopes, and the city around them just seemed harder every year. But then, the bus jolted to a stop, the doors hissed open, and she stepped on. A woman, maybe in her late 20s, her hands cradling her pregnant belly, her face pale and tired. She scanned the bus, trying not to look desperate. All the seats were taken. Most people glanced away, pretended not to see. Malik didn't even think about it. He stood up without a word, tugging his hoodie down, offering his seat with a shy, almost embarrassed nod. She blinked, a second too long, like she wasn't used to kindness anymore, like she'd almost forgotten what it looked like. "Thank you," she said, her voice cracking just a little. He just shrugged, stuffing his hands in his pockets, swaying with the motion of the bus as it lurched forward. No big deal, he thought. Anybody decent would have done the same, right? But a few minutes later, when she was getting off, she brushed past him and slipped something into his hand. He barely noticed until she was gone, stepping down into the twilight, her figure quickly swallowed by the busy streets. It was a note, and when Malik unfolded it, he had no idea that his entire life, no, not just his life, but something bigger, something world-shaking, had already started to shift. He read the words once, twice, his heart thudded against his ribs. His hands trembled. It wasn't just a thank you. It wasn't just a blessing or a kind word, it was something else. It was an invitation, a door opening, a mission, something that would pull him out of the cracked sidewalks of his neighborhood and into the stars themselves, into battles and alliances and choices that would echo across galaxies. Because what nobody on Earth knew yet, what even Malik couldn't guess standing there with a worn backpack and scuffed sneakers, was that the galaxy wasn't watching Earth anymore with disdain or amusement. It was watching with hope, the kind of desperate hope you cling to when you have nothing else left. And the first spark of that hope, it had just been passed quietly into Malik Carter's hands. He looked up, the city suddenly feeling different around him, alive with a hum he couldn't quite place. Somewhere far above, so high it hurt to imagine, the stars were stirring, the war fleets were coming, and Malik, this kid who had just given up his seat without a second thought, was about to be at the very heart of it all. He just didn't know it yet. Malik stared at the note, his fingers crumpling the edges without meaning to. His mind raced, trying to make sense of the strange words written in a neat but hurried hand. There was an address scrawled at the bottom, and above it, a single line. That didn't make any sense at all. The world needs you. Don't be late. He shoved the paper into his pocket as the bus screeched to another stop. People moved around him, brushing past without a glance, lost in their own tired routines. Malik stumbled down the steps into the street, the cold air hitting him like a slap. The city lights blinked and buzzed overhead, throwing long shadows across the cracked sidewalks. He tightened his hoodie around his head and started walking. His sneakers slapped the pavement, a steady beat against the restless hum of traffic and the muttered curses of the city night. He should have just gone home. He had homework to do, dishes to wash, a little sister probably already asking where he was, but he couldn't stop thinking about that note. About the woman's eyes. Not scared or grateful, but serious. Like she knew something. Like this wasn't just a random act of kindness and thank you. At the next corner, Malik hesitated. He pulled out the note again, holding it under the dim light of a street lamp. The address was across town, in a part of the city he didn't usually go to. Old warehouses, shipping yards, long abandoned after the economy had packed up and left. Nothing good happened there. Everybody knew that. Still, his feet kept moving. A block later, he texted his mom, telling her he was at the library studying. She wouldn't question it. She trusted him. Malik hated lying, but he told himself this wasn't really a lie. He just needed to check this out. Just needed to see what was going on. Then he'd go home, help Mariah with her spelling test, and pretend like tonight was normal. The city changed as he walked. The bright storefronts and noisy diners gave way to boarded-up windows and sagging fences. Shadows grew longer, stretching like claws over the empty streets. A couple of guys leaned against a wall, their faces hidden in the gloom. They watched him pass but said nothing. Malik kept his head down and moved faster. When he finally found the address, he almost missed it. It was an old warehouse, the metal siding rusted and peeling, the windows black with grime. A single bulb over the door flickered weakly, buzzing like an angry insect. He checked the note again, then the number. On the building. It matched. Swallowing hard, Malik stepped closer. The door opened before he could knock. Inside, it was warmer. The air filled with the faint smell of oil and something else, something sharp and metallic that prickled the back of his throat. He blinked, trying to adjust to the dim light. A figure stood in the shadows, tall and wrapped in a heavy coat. "You came," the figure said. The voice was rough, but there was something almost kind in it. "Who are you?" Malik asked, his voice cracking slightly. The figure stepped forward into the light. It was a man, maybe mid-40s, with sharp eyes and a rough beard peppered with gray. He wore combat boots, cargo pants, and a jacket that looked military, but with no badges or patches. Malik noticed the way he stood, balanced, like he was ready for a fight at any second. "My name's Cole," the man said. "I work for some people who've been looking for someone like you." Malik took a step back. "You got the wrong guy," he said quickly. I'm nobody." Cole smiled, but it wasn't mocking. It was sad. "That's what everyone thinks at first." He pulled something from his coat, a small device, smooth and black, no bigger than a deck of cards. He pressed a button, and a hologram flickered to life between them. Malik gasped, stumbling back a step. It was a map, but not a map of Earth, stars. Spun in a dizzying dance. Planets glowed with cold fire. Names in strange symbols hovered around them. And weaving through it all was a red line, jagged and broken, like a wound tearing across the galaxy. "This," Cole said, pointing to the map, "is the galaxy right now, broken, dying, giving up." Malik stared, his heart pounding. "What does that have to do with me?" Cole looked him dead in the eyes. "Everything." He tapped the device again, and the map zoomed in on a small blue-green planet, Earth. Around it, thousands of dots pulsed and shifted. Ships, fleets, movement. "Earth doesn't know it yet," Cole said, "but it's the last hope. Humans, your people, they have something the rest of the galaxy lost a long time ago." "What's that?" Malik whispered. "Fight," Cole said simply. "Hope, the refusal to lay down and die." Malik shook his head, stepping back toward the door. Nah, man, this is crazy. I don't even know you. I'm not some soldier. I got school tomorrow. I got a little sister to take care of. Cole didn't try to stop him. He just pocketed the device and said, "You don't have to decide right now, but you will have to decide." He pulled something else from his coat, a small card with a symbol Malik didn't recognize, a circle broken by a jagged line. On the back was a simple message: "When the sky falls, run to the fire, not from it." Malik backed out into the street, the cold air snapping at his skin. The door swung shut behind him with a heavy thud. He stood there for a long minute, the card clutched in his hand, his heart hammering in his chest. Far above, unseen and unknown, to the people sleeping in their warm beds, something was moving through the darkness. Something vast and terrible. An armada of ships older than memory, black as the spaces between stars, drifting closer with every passing second. The first battles had already been fought, the first blood already spilled. The galaxy was on fire. And somewhere deep in that endless night, humanity's war fleet was rising. Rough, scarred, furious. The kind of fighters who didn't know how to quit. And Malik Carter, tired, broke, just trying to make it through another day, was about to find out just how far a simple act of kindness could reach. Because the war had already started, and it was coming for him next. The card felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds in Malik's pocket as he walked home through the city's cold breath. His mind kept looping back to the warehouse, to Cole's rough voice, to that spinning map of stars and broken promises. It had to be a trick, some elaborate scam, maybe even some government thing, and if it was, he wanted no part of it. He had enough trouble just keeping his grades up and making sure Mariah got to school with clean clothes and breakfast in her stomach. But deep down, under the fear, under the worry, a tiny ember burned. Curiosity, wonder, a question that wouldn't leave him alone. What if it's real? When he finally pushed open the door to his apartment, the familiar smells of fried chicken and fabric softener washed over him. His mom's voice floated from the kitchen, tired but warm, asking if he'd eaten. Mariah sat at the table, tongue sticking out the side of her mouth as she scribbled over a homework sheet. "Hey, Lily," she chirped when she saw him, grinning, wide enough to show her missing front teeth. Malik smiled, ruffled her hair, and mumbled something about grabbing a shower. Upstairs, he closed the bathroom door and leaned his forehead against the cool tile wall. He pulled out the card and stared at it again, the strange symbol catching the weak light. He couldn't tell them. Not yet. Not until he knew what this was. Far above their apartment, hidden by clouds and the smog of the city, a satellite blinked out of existence. One moment it was there, relaying weather patterns and news signals. The next, it was a swirl of molten debris spinning silently into the upper atmosphere. No alarm sounded. No one noticed, except a few people. And one of them was standing in a darkened command room thousands of miles away, watching monitors flicker red. "They've started," the man said, his voice cold and sharp. Across from him, a woman in a crisp gray uniform nodded grimly. "Move the assets, activate the sleepers." The man's mouth twisted into something that might have been a smile or a grimace. Earth won't know what hit it. The next morning, Malik could hardly keep his eyes open during history class. His teacher droned on about ancient wars and broken treaties, her voice blending into the hum of the overhead lights. Malik tapped his pen against his desk, restless, edgy. Around him, the other students scrolled through their phones or doodled, in notebooks, lost in their own bubbles. Nobody else felt it, but Malik did. Something had shifted. Something had cracked open, and now there was a chill leaking through the cracks of the world. When the final bell rang, Malik didn't go straight home. Instead, he found himself wandering the streets, the card burning a